joins the House, which passed an identical resolution in October, in confirming the killing of an estimated 1.5 million Armenians by the Ottoman Empire from 1915 to 1923. We'll be speaking with Lara Yeretsian in just a moment. I want to give you a bit more background first. This federal action has huge cultural impact on us here in Southern California, where more than 200,000 Armenians live, the highest concentration of Armenians living abroad. Tens of thousands march every year here to commemorate these killings. Now, this year, California Governor Gavin Newsom declared, quote, a day of remembrance for the genocide, but the White House has been resistant. In fact, the Trump administration tried 3 times to block the resolution, which the Turkish government opposes as well. Now, as mentioned today, we're joined by Lara Yeretsian. Lara, thank you so much for being with us. I know that Adam Schiff has recognized you for your work on behalf of the Armenian community, so it's really an honor to speak to you on a day like today. Give us a sense of why this is so controversial and has taken so long, and why the White House has been opposing this resolution.
Well, it's controversial because Turkey and the Turkish government has been denying it and has denied it for over a century, and there's a lot of opposition and lobbying by the government. I mean, there's basically been a gag rule, and for years and years, this has been a battle for the Armenian American community and also for our representatives. I mean, someone like Congressman Schiff, for 19 years, tried to get this resolution passed in the House, and finally that happened in October, overwhelmingly passed. And now, clearly, as you stated, it took 3 attempts, but thank goodness the 4th was the charm, and it finally passed. And the best part of it is that it was unanimous. And I'm glad that finally our Senate stood up to a foreign government saying enough is enough meddling in our business, and we are going to do what is morally and ethically right, and that is to recognize the first genocide of the 20th century.
It's interesting, the politics around this have been really interesting. When Barack Obama was running in 2008, he promised the Armenian community that he would, as president, recognize this genocide, and then he didn't do that. And again, it gets to maybe perhaps some of the things that you're talking about, the tricky international relations of this. But when we see a resolution like this, obviously I understand why it's important from a more moral and morale standpoint for the community. But what do you think the impact and the effect of this resolution really will be?
Well, obviously, it's a message to the Turkish government from our Congress. Both, I mean, you've got the House and the Senate doing the same thing. And more importantly, from the legal perspective also, it's what the Senate did today, and so did the House. They announced this as, the resolution says, this is the policy of the United States. It's not just a mere recognition of the genocide, of the Armenian genocide at the hands of the Turks, but it also says it is the policy of this country to reject any efforts by anyone, whether it be a foreign country or an agent or whoever it may be, in denying the Armenian genocide. That is huge from the legal perspective also, because there have been all sorts of lawsuits in the courts related to the genocide. And sometimes some of these cases have been dismissed or thrown out because it's been United States foreign policy to deny or to associate itself with Turkey and basically deny or not accept or recognize the Armenian genocide. So it's huge.
And other countries are beginning to recognize this too. France recently did as well. When we think about, for you, from a personal standpoint, we just have about a minute left, but you've worked on behalf of the community, obviously, as a member of it, but this has special meaning for you too, right?
Of course. I'm a descendant of survivors of the Armenian genocide, and it's extremely emotional for me. I see this as finally a victory. It's an affirmation of what we've been screaming about in rallies and protests year after year, decades of working. It's a very activist community working to get this finally passed, and I'm ecstatic and emotional and finally feel empowered because finally the 2 chambers of our Congress have stood behind the community, a community, you've got 200,000 people here, but over 1 million in California.
It'll be interesting to see what the legal precedential value of this really is, but congratulations to you and your community on what I know is a momentous day for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.